Good afternoon, Dr. Smith. My name is Vincent Holder, and this is my last and final presentation for parking garage fees. The purpose of this assignment is to create a program that calculates parking garage fees. The program must calculate the charges of customers parked in the parking garage yesterday, meaning in one day. Parking is charged by the hour plus taxes. What do we know? We know that there is a $30 minimum charge to park up to 3 hours. We also know that an additional $5 per hour will be charged after 3 hours. The max charge for a preferred customer is $100. Charges are taxed at 8%. No car parks for longer than 24 hours, and there are 10 preferred customers on file. Now I'm going to take you to my actual program so you can see what I created. As you can see, here are my 10 preferred customers. I use the public static string to hold, which is an array that holds the names of my 10 preferred customers. As you can see, my 10 preferred customers consist of one being me. I also use the name of my colleagues and you, Dr. Sun. See? Next, in line 14, I use public void calculate charges, integer preferred, and integer hours. This method calculates charges of each customer plus the tax. Here I use integer rest equals 0. This holds the rest. Here I use integer charge equals 0. This holds the charge. Here I use double tax equals 0. This holds the tax. And here I use an if statement, preferred equals 1. This basically says that if a preferred customer parked in the garage, then the user must enter 1. Here I use another if statement. Hours are greater than 3. This tests whether or not the customer parked for more than 3 hours. Here, rest equals hours minus 3. Well, since the parking garage charges a $30 minimum to park for up to 3 hours, the variable rest holds the difference between the numbers of hours and a minimum. For example, let's say the user enters 18 hours. Then rest will equals 18 hours minus 3 hours, which will give us 15 hours. Here, I use charge equals 30 plus rest times 5. This calculates the charge by adding $30 plus $5 times per hour after 3 hours. Here I use tax equals charge times 0.08. This calculates taxes by multiplying amount charged times 8%. Here I use an if statement. Charge is less than 100. This method tests whether or not the charge is more or less than $100. Here we have our console write line. This basically says that if the charge is $100, it will be taxed at $8. This says that if a customer parks for less than 3 hours, they will be charged at $30 and a tax of $2.40. This is our function for if it is not a preferred customer. And this is the end of my function. Here we have a couple of variables. Here the integer preferred equals 0. This is a variable that holds the type of the customer, meaning new customer or preferred. Here we have integer hours equals 0. This is a variable that holds the numbers of hours. Here we have integer customer equals 0. This is a variable that holds the numbers of customers parked in the garage. Here we use this to create an object of the class to call the function to calculate all of our charges. Here we use the console write line for our list of 10 preferred customers. We use the for loop to display the names and store it onto the screen. Here we also use the console write line to show the input of how many customers parked in the parking garage yesterday. Here we use another for loop which runs until the user enters all customers. For example, at the beginning of the program, it will ask how many customers parked into your garage. If the user types 5, the program will continue to run until the user enters all the inputs for all 5 of the customers. Here we have a console write line, which will show enter the informations of the customer number. Here we have another console write, which is a preferred customer or not. It's going to say if it is a preferred customer, you will type 1 and 0 if not. Here, this scans the choice of the user in the preferred variable. Here, this loops tests whether or not the user enters an invalid key. Here, we use this to scan the number of hours in the hours variable. Here, this calls the functions with the 2-parameter variable, preferred and hours. And then for my last two, they both update the variable to use it again and again. Preferred equals 0 and hours equals 0. This is my program. Now I'm going to execute it for you so you can see how it looks. I'm so proud of myself, Dr. Smith. So as you can see, the list of my 10 preferred customers pops up, with me being 1 and you number 2. Then the screen asks us to input how many customers parked in the garage yesterday. I'm going to say 3. Next, the screen prompts me to enter the information of the customer number 1. It says, is it a preferred customer or not? Input 1 if yes, and 0 if no. For this first customer, let's say it is a preferred customer. So I will enter 1 and press enter. Next, it asks us how many hours the customer parked in the garage. Let's say I went out of state and I went on the airplane. So I left my car there for about 12 hours. Press enter. It will give us the charge, which is $75, and the tax. Then it asks us to enter the information for customer number 2. Customer number 2, it asks us whether the customer is preferred or not. I'm going to say that this is a new customer, so I'll put 0. Then it asks us the number of hours the customer parked on the garage. We're going to say 3 hours. Once we press enter, we see that it gives us a charge of $30, which is the minimum of 3 hours that I put, and it's taxed at $2.40. Here we have our last customer, customer number 3. We're going to say that this is a preferred customer. We're going to press enter. Enter how many hours he or she parked. So I'm going to put $20, 20 hours, just to see how many just to see if my functions are right. Here, since this is a preferred customer, and we said that the preferred customer, the maximum is $100, you see that the charge is $100 and will be taxed at $8. Once you have entered all of your customers, it will ask you to press any key to continue. I will press enter, and that is the end of my presentation.